Well, that briefly is how I see the election. But then you must remember that I also predicted that Shirley Temple would be elected to Congress.
Tom Brokaw signed on here at KNBC back in 1966.
And when I got to Los Angeles and was on the air there, I thought it doesn't get any better than this.
Now, 4 decades later, there are still a lot of people at this station who have stories to tell about the good old days. News writer Dick Smith.
Yeah, Brokaw has a slight speech impediment, trouble saying words like million. When we had a story with fire damage totaling $1 million, we had to write for him, damage was hundreds of thousands of dollars.
But you know something? That ingratiated him to the viewers. I swear to God, I really believe that. You had this young, handsome man on television who looked like a boy, who had problems with speech once in a while. Oh, my God. Oh, they loved him for that.
American infantrymen.
Back in the 1960s, the 11 o'clock news was very different than it is today. There were no co-anchors. There was only one solo news anchor and one sportscaster, Ross Porter.
We wound up working together on the 11 o'clock news for 5 years. He was not the kind of a guy who would let somebody else write the whole show for him. He wanted to write. He was an excellent writer, as he proved with his Greatest Generations book. And that was also one of the keys for him. He wanted to put it in his words and do it his way, and he was very successful doing that.
Tom was working as a street reporter, and a very good one. He covered all of Los Angeles and much of California.
Tom Brokaw, KNBC News, the site of the tunnel cave-in.
I was impressed with the fact that he was very young, very confident, and very competent. Baby face notwithstanding.
I remember going to my 10th high school reunion, the 10th high school reunion of San Bernardino High School. And I had just gone to work for KNBC, and I thought I was a pretty big cheese. But all my female classmates kept coming up to me and saying, "Do you know Tom Brokaw? He's so cute!" All of us knew in the Channel 4 newsroom that Tom Brokaw was going to go someplace. But he wasn't the kind of guy who had to step on other people to get there. And he's that way to this day. He's the real deal.
And I have to assure you, the newsroom has been remodeled many, many times.
Many, many
since
times.
then.
And he's also a very likable person and a good person.
And he wants everybody to know that he's really not retiring. He's just not doing the daily grind anymore.
That's right. NBC News with Tom Brokaw, his last one, next.
More troops. The U.S. to raise troop levels in Iraq by almost 12,000 as violence threatens next month's elections. Scandal. Fraud and corruption in the UN Oil for Food program in Iraq. Now a demand from a U.S. senator that Kofi Annan, the UN Secretary General, resign. Credit warning. Free credit reports online, but beware what may come with the package. And Ward 57, home to some of America's bravest soldiers who have to learn how to live all over again.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. The American military investment in Iraq is going up from 138,000 troops there now to 150,000.
These young wounded vets might just be what some say is the emerging next greatest generation. And with that, one last time, Tom, back to you.
Thanks, Brian. Don't go far because we have plans for you.
All right.
I'll be back in just a moment with some final thoughts. Well, the time is here. We've been through a lot together, through dark days and nights and seasons of hope and joy. Whatever the story, I had only one objective: to get it right. When I failed, it was personally painful, and there was no greater urgency than course correction. On those occasions, I was grateful for your forbearance and always mindful that your patience and attention didn't come with a lifetime warranty. I was not alone here, of course. I am simply the most conspicuous part of a large, thoroughly dedicated and professional staff that extends from just beyond these cameras across the country and around the world, in too many instances in places of grave danger and personal hardship. And their family to me. What have I learned here? More than we have time to recount this evening, but the enduring lessons through the decades are these. It's not the questions that get us in trouble. It's the answers. And just as important, no one person has all the answers. Just ask a member of the generation that I came to know well, the men and women who came of age in the Great Depression, who at great personal sacrifice saved the world in World War II and returned home to dedicate their lives to improving the nation they had already served so nobly. They weren't perfect, no generation is, but this one left a large and vital legacy of common effort to find common ground here and abroad in which to solve our most vexing problems. They did not give up their personal beliefs and greatest passions, but they never stopped learning from each other, and most of all, they did not give up on the idea that we're all in this together. We still are, and it is in that spirit that I say thanks for all that I have learned from you. That's been my richest reward. That's Nightly News for this Wednesday night. I'm Tom Brokaw. You'll see Brian Williams here tomorrow night, and I'll see you along the way.
So thanks for the memory of Brokaw's expertise that enhances NBC's. We know he'll climb in any time. He does it in a breeze. And we thank him so much. Tom, good luck. Hope you stay awake till 7 p.m.
Nightly News is a presentation of NBC News. More Americans watch NBC News than any other news organization in the world.